Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shapundidamishcha Mantra Guru Ajo Tashika Guru Ganta Charane Age Gori Avandan Vanshakapati Vishta Kripashan Vichapaditanam Pabane Babashname Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudamani Pachani Nirvishesha Srimad Prashtattade Shane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Pavanitananda Se Advaita Gadadha Shivasi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shuno, this is Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Khanda, chapter 9. The glories of Nityananda Ram. Shuno is this text number 105. Shuno, Sri Chaitanya Priyatamer Kotan Jai Mate Korila Tirtha Mandali Brahman. Tirtha Mandali Brahman. Shuno, listen to the Sri Chaitanya Priyatam. Sri Chaitanya Priyatam, the dearest, Priyatam, the dearest of Sri Chaitanya, Nityananda Rai. Listen to his Korila Tirtha Mandali Brahman. Listen to how he traveled Tirtha Mandali and into the various holy places. You heard this morning the Shannashi Shundur, the sannyasi came and he begged for the son of Hadai Pandit. You heard? So now he's traveling. Let's hear where he traveled to. So this Eka Chakra, Bardhaman district, Pashchim Bengal, Eka Chakra is the place of birth. So from there, he traveled to the banks of Ganga. First of all, he went to Gaya down, Gaya. And then he began traveling along the banks of Ganga. Ganga Deki, Boro Shuki Nityananda Roy. Ganga Deki, Boro Shuki Nityananda Roy. So much happiness. Sing Ganga. Shnan Kore, Pan Kore. Artana Hijoy. He drank the waters of the Ganga. He bathed in the Ganga as he was traveling. Prayag. Our government changed the name to Prayag again. This is our original name. 500 years ago, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Prayag. Prayage, Korila, Magmashe, Pratashnan. Magmash, January, early morning, bath in Ganga at Prayag. It's very chilly. Tobe, Mathura Gelo, Purva Janmashtan. And from Prayag, he went to Mathura, Purva Janmashtan, where he previously had appeared as Balaram. And then he toured in Vrindavan. Nityananda Prabhu toured in Vrindavan, Krishna's birthplace, Bishram Ghat, Jamuna, Govardhan Hill, Dwadasha Kanan, 12 forests of Vrindavan. And then he went to Hastinapura and he saw the fortress of the Pandavas. Balaram Kirti Dekhi Hastina Nagare, remembering the glories of Lord Balaram and the pastimes he performed in Hastinapur. One time Lord Balaram, with his club, he was about to pull the whole city of Hastinapur into the Jamuna. So Nityananda Gosha, he calls out, Trai Haladara, Boli, Namaskar Kori, save me, O Haladar. And then he went to Hastinapur, North India. Then he went to South India in his tours, South India. Shiva Kangshi, Vishnu Kangshi, Kanchipuram, near Chennai, Tirupati, Kanchipuram. And then he went to Naimisharanya, again, North India. In fact, if you make the map, it's like extensive touring for actually 20 years, extensive touring up north, all the places. Tobe gelo Nityananda Ayodhya Nagar. Ram Janmabhumi Dekhi Kondila Bishtar. Ram Janmabhumi Dekhi Kondila Bishtar, crying profusely, seeing the birthplace of Lord Ram. When Lord Ram Chandra appeared, then Nidai Goshai, he was accompanying him as Lakshmana. Then he was a younger brother. Krishna and Balaram, Lord Balaram 1 year older. And then Nityananda Gauranga, 9 years. Gauranga Nitai, jar bole ekbar, ananta karma dosh anta hoitar. Gauranga Nitai, you say Gauranga Nitai, jar bole ekbar, one time, you call that Gauranga Nitai. Ananta karma dosh anta hoitar. Unlimited sins disappear. Ananta karma dosh anta means the end. Unlimited sins disappear. Gauranga Nitai, jar bole ekbar, by calling out Gauranga Nitai one time. Of course, there's more. Not only we're not just simply calling on the name of Nitai, name of Gauranga, to remove the sin. Je Gauranga nama loy tadahoy premudoy. Premudoy is arousal of love of God by chanting the name Gauranga. And we'll hear that Nityananda, he becomes the principal preacher of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, the principal preacher. But interesting to note, Shuddhi Brinda, respected Vaishnav Mandali, interesting to note that at this time, Nityananda Prabhu, he's not distributing love of Godhead. He's not preaching Krishna consciousness. He's traveling. Madurai, Dokhin Bharat, Madurai, South India. He went. And there's a huge temple there of Lord Shiva, Sri Shaila, huge temple there. So he went there, and then Lord Shiva is residing there, being served by Parvati Devi in Sri Shaila. And when Lord Nityananda arrived there, Nija Ishtadev Chinilen Duijon Abadut Rupe Kore Tirta Parjanton. Nija Ishtadeva Chinilen Duijon. She Parvati, they could recognize the Lord Nityananda as the Nija Ishtadeva, the worshipable Lord. Abadut Rupe, in the form of a mendicant. He's assumed the form of a mendicant, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Halada, Balaram, Nitai Goshai, in the form of a sannyasi, mendicant. Kore Tirtha Parjantan, he's going from one holy place to the other. And so Shiv Parvati, they were very enlivened to have the direct association of the Ishta Devata, the worshipable deity. And so they served Lord Nityananda and discussed confidential topics of Krishna consciousness in his. You know the conclusion of Lord Shiva. Arada, he says to Parvati Devi, Aradananam Sharvesham Vishnu Aradanam Param, O Devi. Aradananam Sharvesham, of all types of worship. Vishnu Aradanam Param. Worship of Lord Vishnu is the topmost. Then, Tasmat Parataram Devi. But even higher than the worship of Lord Vishnu, even higher than worship of Lord Vishnu. Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Shamarchanam. Worshipping those things which are dear to Lord Vishnu. Worshipping those things which are dear to Lord Vishnu. That's even more higher than worshipping Lord Vishnu directly. If we worship Tulasi Devi, we worship Ma Ganga. We worship the Vaishnav. Nitaye Charana Sata Tahara Sheboka Nito Nitaya Charana Satta. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, they are eternal. Nitaya Charana Satta. Tahara Sheboka Nitto. And his servant is eternal. So they are worshipping. And he's traveling in the form of a devotee, a mendicant, and they're worshipping him and serving him. And that's the highest. That's the highest. Bhakata Sheva, Paramashiti, Prema Lotika Mool. Thakur Bhaktivinoda sings Bhakata Seva. Service to the Vaishnava, Bhakata Sheva, Paramashiti. That's the topmost perfection. Paramashiti. Prema Lotika Mool. It's the root of love of Godhead, serving Vaishnava. He went to Sri Rangam, and then north, high up, Himalayas, Badrikashram, Badrinath, Badri Vishal. You've seen? You've seen Badrinath? No, not seen. No one. Badrinath, Badri Vishal. No one's seen. Wow. Yeah, for even I'm not born in Bharat Bhumi, but I've seen. It is quite a epic journey to reach Badrinath. Actually, your breathing there, your breathing is affected. Your breathing, there's such a high altitude. Your breathing, short of breath. Special place, Badrinath. And you see the mountains, the snow. And then you go higher, you can go to where Vyasadev's, no man can go. Vyasadev's pilgrimage place, Kailash. So he went there. And he met with Srila Vyasadeva. He went to Vyas Muni's ashram. And Vyas Muni also served Nityananda Prabhu, under recognizing him as Lord Balaram. Actually, that's interesting that Lord Nityananda went to Vyasa, what's it called? Vyasa Kuha, yeah, Vyasa Kuha. And then further on there's another. That's one place, but you go higher, there's the real Vyas ashram, where he's still residing. Nityananda Prabhu went there. So that Vyas Muni, Krishna Leela Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas, Krishna Leela Bhagavata, Srimad Bhagavatam, Kohe, is spoken by Ved Vyas. Chaitanya Lila Vyas, Vrindavan Das. And that same Vyas Muni, he appears as Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, which we are reading. So the one who wrote the book, he's there. And Nityananda Prabhu is visiting him and is being described in this book. There's no footnote. We're giving the footnote. There's no footnote. Actually, the writer of this book is that Vyasa Muni. But he appeared in the form of Vrindavan Thakur. Not everybody agrees. But we're Gaudiya. Vyasa Muni is incarnated as Vrindavan Thakur. We don't care what others say. And when you go to Mamgachi, Navadip Dham, when you go there, then you'll see on the temple, it's the birth of Vyas Avatar, Shripad. Vyas Avatar, the incarnation of on the temple, established by Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That's in Badrinath. That's high up. The end of Bharat Bhumi. Next is Tibet, China. Badrinath. And then again, South India, Kerala, Srigala. He went door to door in Kerala. Anyone from Kerala? We hear Mumbai, there are many people from South India that live in Mumbai. Kerala. Of course, there's more international airports in Kerala than in any other state. Everyone wants to. 4 international airports in Kerala. 4. They're all in Oman and Qatar. Nirantar Krishna Besh Sharir Avash Kane Konde Kane Hashe Ke Buje She Rosh He's constantly, we mentioned he's not preaching Krishna consciousness, Nityananda Prabhu at this time. We'll hear why. But still, Nirantar Krishna Besh, Sharir Avash. Love of Godhead is constant. The symptoms of love of Godhead are constantly manifest in his form. Kane Kande, sometimes he's crying. Kane Hashe, sometimes he's laughing. Ke Buje Sherosh. No one could understand who he was and what he was doing as he was traveling. Immortal Nityananda Prabhur Brahman Debe Madhavendra Shaha Hoile Darshan. And this way Nityananda Prabhu, he wandered. Nityananda Prabhu Brahman, he wandered. And Daibe, by the superior arrangement, Madhavendra Shaha Hoilo Darshan. He met Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri, he's a special acharya in our parampara. Madhavendra Puri. Some of his esteemed disciples. Tell us who are some of the disciples of Madhavendra Puri? Well known. Who can say? Raise hand. Yes. Ishwara Puri is one. Yes. Ishwara Puri is one. Another exalted disciple of Srila Madhavendra. This is Nityananda Prabhu, we're talking, is the topic. Nityananda Prabhu. Yeah. Advaita Acharya. Advaita Goshai. Doya Koro Shitapati. Advaita Goshai. Toba Kripa Bole Pai Chaitanya Nidai. So the disciples of Madhavendra Puri. And Mahaprabhu, he took initiation from Ishwara Puri. So Madhavendra Puri Prabhupada, he is the Param Guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Param Guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Madhavendra Puri Prabhupada. And Nityananda Prabhu met him. Madhavendra Puri, Premamoy, Kolebor. His body, Kalebo, his form is Premamoy, is full of love of Godhead. Premamoy, Jota Shab, Shange, Onujor, and Jota Shab, Shange, his associates, his disciples were also Premamoy, the full of love of Godhead. Some of these disciples are mentioned: Srila Ishwara Puri, Sri Advaita Prabhu, Sri Paramananda Puri, Sri Brahmananda Puri, Sri Ranga Puri, Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahodai, Raghupati Ubadai. These are just so many disciples of Madhavendra Puri. Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahodai. And then the position of Madhavendra Puri is explained by Vrindavan Thakur. Bhakti Roshe, Madhavendra, Adi Shutradhar. The Adi Shutradhar means the root of the mood of love of Godhead in Madhurja Rosh. Go Chandra Iha Korea Chin Barba. This is declared by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu many, many times. Special. So in meeting the two, they embraced. They were rolling on the ground. For a long time they were embraced. You know, sometimes we embrace devotees momentarily. But that's it. You can only take so much. A short embrace. It's very intensive. But they embraced and they remained embraced. For a long time. They remaining embraced. Tears flowing from their eyes profusely. Flooding the earth with the tears. Kampa Ashru Pulak Baber Ontanai. Baber Ontanai. There's no end to the emotional outburst. Baber Ontanai. Kampa Ashru Pulak. The shivering, weeping, the revelation. Endlessly. Baber Ontanai. No end to the crying, to the trembling of the Just when meeting each other and embracing. Dui dehe birahai Chaitanya Goshai de. As they're embracing, they're feeling the separation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu says that the perfection of my touring, for many years, I have achieved the perfection of my Tirtha Brahman by seeing you. I've seen so many sadhus. You can imagine 500 years ago in the holy places, even now, 500 years ago. But never had we met anyone that shared the same love of God, mood of love of Godhead. Madhavendra Kotar, Oti, Odbhut Kotan is extraordinary. Madhavendra Puri, extraordinary character. Meg Dekile Matrahoya Acheton. Meg Dekile. When you see the monsoon cloud, the dark cloud, when you see that, Hoilu Acheton, he would fall unconscious. Just seeing the dark cloud, he would fall unconscious. So for several days they remained day and night together discussing Krishna Katha and expressing the emotions. Madhavendra Prati Nityananda Mahashai Guru Buddhi Vyatirikto Ar Nar Korai. This means that Madhavendra Prati Nityananda Mahashai, Nityananda Prabhu, he accepted Madhavendra Puri as a spiritual master. Guru Buddhi Vyatikrika Ar Nar Korai. He accepted him as spiritual master. And so this is the description of the meeting of Madhavendra Puri and Nityananda Prabhu given by Vrindavan Das Thakur. There's no mention there that he's an initiated, he's not given the mantra. Mahaprabhu, he received the Diksha mantra. But here mentioned there is guru-disciple relationship, although there is no initiation formal mantra. Like with Rupa and Sanatan, Aj hoite tamanam Rup Sanatan Danna Charat Tomadanna Fete Murmon. Aj hoite tamanam Rup Sanatan. Mahaprabhu, he gave the names to Rupa and Sanatan in Ramkeli. He gave the names. Prabhupada says that initiated them. Rupa and Sanatan, the disciples. But there's no mantra diksha. In fact, Mahaprabhu did not give mantra diksha. Mahaprabhu did not give mantra diksha. He's not a diksha guru. A diksha guru actually is a post in ISKCON. It's like a position in ISKCON. Diksha guru. Many things we have. Facilities, a GBC guru is a diksha guru. But actually, every preacher is guru. On the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Amaragai Guru Ho, Tara Desh, Chari Dekho, Tarikaha Krishna Upadesh. Amaragai Guru Ho. Mahaprabhu is ordering everyone to become guru. So all the preachers are Shikha Guru. Guru. ISKCON generally means guru, means Diksha Guru in ISKCON. Guru is guru, it's Diksha Guru, as it gives the mantra. But Mahaprabhu never gave Diksha mantra. The mantra he received from Ishwarapuri, he never initiated anyone. But others initiated. Nityananda Prabhu initiated Vrindavan Das Thakur. Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahoda, he initiated with mantra, Gadada Pandit. Ishwarapuri, they received mantra from Madhavendra Puri. But even this is interesting, that even in the Shanga of the Vaishnavas, there were different initiation mantras. Because it's not revealing what mantra Madhavendra Puri is giving to Ishwarapuri, what mantra Ishwarapuri is giving to Mahaprabhu. He gave that mantra to Mahaprabhu, a 10-syllable mantra. What mantra Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahodai gave to Gadada Pandit is not written there, what mantra. It's not necessarily the same. But everyone is all together in the same fraternity of Gaurangir Shangigon, the associated. In ISKCON, it's the same mantra. Everyone's the same mantra diksha, but still we see that they're different groups. And it's the same mantra. And even the different mantras, but they don't sing in different groups. In Mahaprabhu's associates. There's different mantras. And he's got one mantra. Everyone wants to know who's your guru. It's the same mantra. We're in the same mantra. Nityananda Madhavendra, we read that. Nityananda Madhavendra Dui Darshan Jai Shuni Ye Tare Mile Krishna Prem Dhan. Those who hear Nityananda Madhavendra Dui Darshan, those who hear the description of Nityananda Prabhu meeting with Madhavendra Puri, Jai Shuniye, those who hear, Jai Shuniye, Tar Mile Krishna Chandra Prem Dhan, they will come in contact with the love of Godhead, Krishna, love for Krishna, just by hearing this description. E Moto Tirtha Brahmi Nityananda Rai Punarai Ashiya Milila Mathurai. So after traveling for 20 years, all over the different holy places, as a Jagannath Puri, Ganga Sagar, then again he went to Vrindavan, Mathura. And he remained there in the mood of a cowherd boy, Just like this morning we were explaining that Nityananda Prabhu, he's a fully grown man. But he acts and speaks like a young boy, like a cowherd boy. Just like in Panihati. He explained when Raghav Pandit came and said, we've cooked rice, sabji, dal, so many items for your lunch, we've cooked. And Nityananda Prabhu said, oh no, that prasadam I will take in the evening. And now I'm having picnic, Gopa Jati Yami. Gopa Jati Yami. I am a cowherd boy. Gopa Jati Ami. Bahut Gopa Shonge. Gopa Jati Ami. Bahut Gopa Shonge. I am a cowherd boy, and my associates are all cowherd boys. Amra Shukpai E Pulan Bojan Ronge. And we get happiness having a picnic on the bank of the river. This whole Panihati Lila. Raghunath Das Goswami. Why Nityananda said, and even they couldn't fit on the banks. Some of the associates and Brahmins had to stand in the Ganga and take their sweet rice and the chip rice, and they're standing in the Ganga. How is this possible? Andantarashta Paramanu Chayantarashtam. The whole universe is situated in him. You think there's any shortage of space issue? He can make the whole place bigger anytime. He can make the whole venue bigger. No, everyone. Why? There's no room on the Ganga, on the bank. They're in the water. Why? Because there's more fun. How much fun they're having. Some even in the Ganga, standing in the Ganga taking prasad, giving joy. But Gopa Jati Yami. Bahut Gopa Gon Shange, because I'm a cowherd boy. And I'm associates of cowherd boys. So he's a cowherd boy. He's in the mood of cowherd boy. And Malini would have to feed him like a boy. So he remained in Vrindavan in the mood of the cowherd boy. And he's waiting to hear the news of Gauchandra's Shankirtan Leela. Because before there's a period where this Vishwambar, Navadip Chandra, he's not preaching Krishna consciousness in the youth. There's a Vidya Leela. Adikonda Gaudango Shadava Shastra Jai Tribhubanai Heno Nahi Sheshan Mukohoi. No one in the three worlds could stand in front of Nimai Pandit and discuss Shastra. Tribhubanai Heno Nahi Sheshan Mukohoi. No one could stand in front of him and debate Shastra. And the Vidya Lila, the pastimes, when he appears as Krishna, he's the Gopijana Balab, he's Gopijana Ranjan, Brajajana Ranjan. He's the darling of the residents of Braj. The cows, the cowherd boys, the gopis, the senior cow, they're all just absorbed in Brajajana Ranjan, in Nandadulal. He's the darling of Vrindavan when he appears in Gokul. When he appears in Ramchandra, he's the ideal king, Ram Raj. Everybody wants. A king like Lord Ramchandra. He's the ideal king, Kshatriya. When he appears in Gokul, he's a Vaishya, Gopal. He's a cowherd boy. All the cows are in love with him. The cowherd men are in love with him. The cowherd ladies are in love with him. Everybody. When he's a Kshatriya, he's the ideal king. Everybody, the Ramchandra ki jai. When he appears in the house of Jagannath Misra as a Brahmin, as a Dvija Mani, he's the Krish jewel of the Navadip Brahmins. He's the most brilliant scholar. So he's performing the Vidya Leela, he's not preaching Krishna consciousness in Navadip, Gauranga. He's defeating the scholars, traveling from one ghat to the other. Navadipe Shampati Ke Bone Bare Pari. Who can describe the Shampati, the opulence of Navadip? Egg Ganga Ghate Lokshnan Kore. In one ghat, one bathing ghat, 100,000 people are bathing. 100,000. Navadipa Shampati Ke Bone Bare Pare Ek Ganga Ghate Lokshnan Kore. 100,000 people bathing in one ghat. You can imagine the aristocratic environment of scholarly. Chatudik Hoite Log Navadipe Jai. From all directions they were coming to Navadip. Navadipe Porile She Vidarosh Pai. Because in Navadip, if you study, you get a taste for learning. Vidarosh. Navadipe Porile She Vidarosh Pai. You get a taste for learning if you study in Navadip. So they are coming from all Chatudik Hoite Log Navadipe Jai. And there, the Navadip Chandra, the Krish jewel, the most famous, the most brilliant of all the scholars, Navadip Chandra. He was enjoying, just like Ramchandra is the king, Krishna enjoying as the cowherd boy, and Nimai Pandit, he's enjoying as the Krish jewel of the Navadip, twice born. So then Mahaprabhu, he began the Sankirtan movement. He began after going to Gaya and meeting Ishwarapuri Prabhupada and taking initiation from him. Then he came back to Navadip and he couldn't teach anymore. He gave up teaching because he was overwhelmed with Krishna Prema, love of Godhead, and tears profusely pouring from his eyes, chanting the holy name. So he began the Sankirtan movement in the house of Srivas Thakur with his associates, performing Sankirtan. Nityananda Prabhu, he was waiting for this moment in Vrindavan. Jajapi Nityananda Dore Sharva Shakti. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he's holding all of the power. Totapi Koraha na dilin Vishnu Bhakti. However, he was not giving Vishnu Bhakti. He was not giving Vishnu Bhakti at the time when Mahaprabhu was performing the Vidya Lila. He was not preaching Krishna. Why? Jabe Gauchandra Prabhu Koribe Prakash Tan She Algai Bhakti Naner Vilash. He's waiting for Gauchandra to manifest his Sankirtan pastimes. Tashe Aggai, and having received his order, Tashe Aggai, Bhakti Daner Vilash, then he will begin the Leela of giving devotion, having been ordered as such by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So having not been given the order, even though he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nityananda Prabhu, Nityananda Balaram, he's not distributing love of Godhead. Although he could deliver the world. But having not received the order from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was not preaching. He was waiting in Vrindavan, in the mood of the cowherd boy. Chaitanya Adi Bhakta Nityananda Rai. Chaitanya Adi Bhakta Nityananda Rai. The principal devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Rai, Adi Bhakta. Chaitanya Jash Vashe Jahaji Boy. Only on his tongue you hear the glories of Chaitanya. Only do you hear the glories of Chaitanya on his tongue. Ahanisha, Chaitanya Kota, Prabhu Koi, night and day, Chaitanya Kota, Prabhu Koi, Nityananda Prabhu, night and day is glorifying Lord Chaitanya. Tar Bhajile Shay, Chaitanya Bhakti Hoy, Tar Bhajile, those who worship him, Nityananda Roy, Tar Bhajile, Shay Chaitanya Bhakti Hoy, they get devotion for Chaitanya. I have to come more often, I think, Sudama. I have to warm up these gentlemen. If I was to say such a thing in Navadip, if I was to say in Navadip that Tar Bhajile Shay Chaitanya Bhakti Hoy, you would hear from the assembly, Nitai Gaura Bhamanande. I have to keep coming here, warm them up a little more. Yeah. So then subsequently, there's the description of the meeting. Nityananda Prabhu, he heard the news that Gauchandra had begun the Sankirtan Leela, Sankirtan pastimes of spreading Krishna consciousness, and then he came to Navadip. And he was staying in the house of Nandanacharya. Where is that? You know, there's one ashram, just the first temple after ISKCON. If you go down the road further, the first temple after ISKCON, the first temple is called Nandanacharya Bhavan. That temple is there. You can go and see that temple. So at that place, a temple was established by Srila Prabhupada's godbrother in the 1960s. A nice temple there, Nandanacharya Bhavan. And that's the first time that Nitai Gaur met. Although they're eternally together, they met at that place. And then gradually the Panchatattva assembled in Mayapur, Panchatattva. Gadadha Pandit, he was living there since the childhood. Gadadha Pandit, he was the associate of Nimai since the childhood. They were at the school of Gangadas Pandit together, Gadadha Pandit. And he's the same age as Nimai. And Shivas Thakur, he's older than Nimai. He's like the age of Jagannath Misra. And so he was already established in Navadip with his four brothers, Sri Ram, Shrindidi, Shriman, Shribas, four brothers performing the Sankirtan. They were also worshipping Sri Hari and performing Sankirtan even before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had appeared. So Shivas Thakur, Gadadha Pandit, they were in Navadip. Advaita Thakur, he was in Shantipur. Actually, he came from East Bengal, Srihatta. The original family home of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagannath Misra, Sachimata from Srihatta, East Bengal, modern Bangladesh, Sylhet. Advaita Thakur, Shivas Thakur also born there. And then they came to Mayapur. Advaita Shivas Thakur, he set his family ashram on the banks of Maganga in Shivasangam. And Advaita Thakur, he has his house in Navadip, he has his house in Shantipur. So they were there, and then Nityananda Mahaprabhu began associating with Gadadha Pandit and Shivas Thakur performing Sankirtan, and then Advaita Gosha, he went to Shantipur. And he said that if he's actually my Prabhu, he will call me from Shantipur. And then Lord Nityananda arrived. So the four members are there: Mahaprabhu, Gadadha Pandit, Shivas Thakur, and Nityananda Prabhu. And then Mahaprabhu, he called. He sent the younger brother of Shivas Thakur, Sri Ram. He sent him, you go to Shantipur. This Thakur, Nara, he woke me up on the ocean of milk. He called me. I come here and he's not even here. You go and tell him to come. You say that Prabhu who you cried for, that Prabhu who you prayed for, that Prabhu who you begged to appear to the stupid love of God, you tell him that Prabhu has appeared in Navadip. So Sri Ram, of course, he's rather intoxicated, overwhelmed, having this direct order from Lord Chaitanya. He didn't actually know where the house of Advaita Thakur was in Shantipur, but he just ran off anyway. He just ran off in any direction, hoping with that order, hoping I would find him. And somehow he managed to find Advaita Thakur in Shantipur. And he said that Prabhu who you cried for, that Prabhu who you appealed, that Prabhu you were begging to appear, he has appeared in Navadip. He is calling you. And Advaita Thakur replied, where is the Shastric evidence that states that the Supreme Lord appears in the Kali Yuga? And Sri Ram said, I know you know everything, you come, he's calling you, you come. So in this way, Advaita Thakur, he came. And in this way, the Panchatattva assembled in Mayapur. And Mahaprabhu, he began, the Panchatattva we worship. It's a evolution, it evolved, the concept Panchatattva, it gradually came together. The personalities were there, and then they gradually, after some time, they came together, and then they established Panchatattva. And Panchatattva is a most worshipable deity in ISKCON. Although only we're worshipping in Mayapur. We're not worshipping, there's some other places where Panchatattva is worshipped. In America, at Laguna Beach, near Los Angeles, is Panchatattva. In Bangladesh, Dhaka, we have Panchatattva as an old temple, 300 years old temple, which was given to ISKCON. So we're Panchatattva worship there. I lived in that temple for 2 years. Panchatattva, Dhaka. And in where else? I'm not sure anywhere else is Panchatattva, except Mayapur. The main altar. You know TOVP? Of course you know TOVP. So the main altar is Panchatattva. Panchatattva in Mayapur, we have Panchatattva. It's unique, the main altar, Panchatattva. And on the one side, Radha Madhav, on the other side is Guru Parampara. Panchatattva, main altar in Mayapur. Panchatattva coming together. We should understand these things, understand who is Panchatattva, understand who are the members of the Panchatattva. Prabhupada first went to America in 1966, and he began the Arati. The devotees, they didn't know what was Arati. And Prabhupada's bowing down, making offering, ringing bell. They called it bells. Swamiji does the bells. Making offerings, offering a lamp, offering boga, and bowing down. It's the first worshipable form in ISKCON was Panchatattva painting. Prabhupada ordered the Mataji to paint, what was her name? Jadurani, to paint Panchatattva, his first deity. So then in Mayapur, Mahaprabhu, he began first to doing the Sankirtan with the Panchatattva members and other associates in the house of Shivas Thakur. Every night it's a closed door kirtan. And even others, the respectable Brahmins of Navadip, they were envious. Why were not permitted? Because they were not, even though the Brahmins, they were not doing Krishna Sankirtan, they were not devotee. So they were criticizing, envious. And then they complained to the Chankazi. They complained, he's spoiling all of our smarta rules and regulations, staying up all night chanting the holy name. We don't hear this. The Chankasi, he came and broke the Madanga. And Mahaprabhu, he began Nityananda Prabhu accompanying him. They marched on the house of the Chankasi. But still, as we understand that the propagation, the preaching of Krishna consciousness, it also had not begun. The Sankirtan was being performed in the confidential associates only. And then Mahaprabhu, he said, went on the streets. That was a big, Prabhupada says, a civil disobedience movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then, becoming more and more, Mahaprabhu reveals himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That also was gradually revealed. And then he begins to consider the spreading of Krishna consciousness. So he calls Nityananda Prabhu, the Adi Bhakta, his most confidential servant, Nityananda Prabhu, and Haridas Thakur. Shuno, Shuno, Nityananda, Shuno, Haridas, Shabatra, Amar Agyai, Koraho Prakash, all over, Shabatra. Now we're extending beyond the house of Srivas Thakur, and even the march to the Chankasi. No, Shabatra, Koraho, Amar Prakash, Amar Agyai, Shabatra, Koraho Prakash. You project, you advertise, you proclaim, Prakash, you reveal, you spread, Amar Agyai, my teachings in all, everywhere. Sabatra Amar Agyai Koraho Prakash. Prati Gore Gore Giye Koro Ebika. Follow Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shikha. You go to every door and beg, Prati Gore Gore Koro Ebika. Traditionally, the renunciates would go door to beg. But Mahaprabhu is saying, don't just go door to door to fill your belly. Prati Gore Gore Giye Koro Ebika. You beg this. You beg them, not for some alms, but you beg them, Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shikha. Chant Hare Krishna. Worship Krishna. Follow Krishna's instructions. So in this way, Mahaprabhu, he inaugurated, he initiated the preaching of Krishna consciousness by ordering Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur as the two principal preachers. Nityananda Prabhu, of course, he is the primary expansion of God. He is the full empowerment of God and the most empowered preacher of Krishna consciousness. Haridas Thakur is also exceptionally empowered preacher. He was chanting 300,000 names a day, every day, even in the Navadip Leela. Haridas Thakur, he's constantly chanting. He's already a charismatic, brilliant preacher of Krishna consciousness, Haridas Thakur. So empowering those two, and then they began the preaching first in Navadip, every Gaur, and then they preached to Jagai Madhai and delivered Jagai Madhai. Extraordinary, the most sinful, even the clerks, Chitragupta, Yamaraj. He has a chief of staff, clerk, accountant. Yamaraj, he doesn't personally do the accounts. He has a chief of accounts department. His name is Chitragupta. And they're explaining that even if we had thousands of assistants who were writing with thousands of for months on end, still we couldn't keep up with the sins of Jagai and Madhai. The volume of sin that they were performing, Jagai and Madhai. So their deliverance is extraordinary. All gone. The deliverance extraordinary. The non-deliverable, they're rejects. Dina hina jota chilo hariname udharilo ta shaki jogai madhai. The evidence, ta shaki. Evidence that dinna hinna jota chilo, that as degraded as you can possibly be, hariname udharilo, the holy name will deliver you. Ta shaki jogai madhai. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was ready to kill Jagai and Madhai. He was ready, he invoked the Sudarsana Chakra. But Nityananda Prabhu appealed. And because of his kindness, Doyal Nitai, Doyamoy, Doyal Nitai, most merciful Nityananda Prabhu delivered Jagai Madhai. This is remarkable. Subsequently, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he personally took sannyas to further spread the Sankirtan movement. Suvarna Varna Hemango Varangash Chandanangari Sannyasa Kriksha Shamahashanta Nishta Shanti Parayana. In the Mahabharata is predicted the avatar of Sri Hari who will accept sannyas. This is extraordinary. Purushottam Sri Krishna Shayam Bhagavan, he doesn't accept sannyas. He marries 16,000 wives. He is the Param Purushottam. He is the supreme enjoyer. The Lord doesn't have to come and practice the penance. The sannyas that Mahaprabhu accepted is a severe sannyas. We mentioned many interesting things in ISKCON. One thing, our type of Varnashram Dharma, it's all, you need money, you ask a sannyasi. They have, the Grihasthas are all poor. So Mahaprabhu, of course, it's the preaching. It's for preaching. Our sannyas is for preaching. Mahaprabhu also accepted for preaching, but then he's performing different. He's performing austere sannyas. He jumped in the Maganga. That's it. He had no assistance. No shoulder bag. Nothing. That was his. You sit in the sannyas ceremony. You come out. What you have, that's it. That's the only possessions he had. So Mahaprabhu accepted that. That's austere. That's painful. That's painful for the devotees. No, you shouldn't accept it. Therefore, Nityananda Prabhu, the first chance he got when they were traveling from Katra, going to Jagannath Puri, the first chance Nityananda Prabhu got, he got hold of that danda. He broke it and threw it. First chance he got, he threw that danda. They didn't want the Mahaprabhu to accept sannyas. It's painful. He's sleeping on the ground. He's taking bath 3 times a day. He's begging, Mahaprabhu personally begging. They didn't want this. His beautiful long hair, we say anointed with fragrant oils and kunda flowers. They didn't want this. Why he did this? Because to propagate, to preach, to be able to meet Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as a sannyasi, to be able to meet Prakasananda Saraswati, to be able to meet the Tattvadis, the Madhvas, the Ramanujas, to be able to establish his teachings of Braja Prema. He accepted the sannyas in order to be able to preach in an official way to the religious leaders of India. And he did that. That's why he accepted sannyas. So Mahaprabhu, he went to Jagannath Puri. Shannashir dharmanahe shannash koriya nija janmashtane rahe kutumbalaya. In Shantipur Mahaprabhu, he personally mentions that sannyas dharma nahe. It's not the duty of a sannyasi, shannash koriya, having accepted sannyas, nija janmashtane rahe, to stay in his place of birth, kutumbalaya, with family members. So make some arrangement, Mahaprabhu said, how I can follow the principle of sannyas to give up home and family, but keep your association. Because I cannot give up Gaurangir Shangigon, Antaranga Bhaktagon, the Navadev Bashis, Advaita Thakur, Shibash Thakur, Gadada Pandits, Nityananda Prabhu, etc. I cannot give up your association, so make some arrangements. So therefore it was decided that Mahaprabhu remain in Jagannath Puri. Tomra Shah Paro Gamona Gamon, Shachimata, from her lips she's saying, you can all come and go to Jagannath Puri. Ganga Shnane O Bove Hovetar Agamon, and he will also come to take bath in Maganga, in Gaudadesh. And this way, on the request of Sachimata, Mahaprabhu stayed in Jagannath Puri because he would come, and he did come and go, take bath in Ganga. Before leaving from Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu explains to Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Gaudadesh Hoy Mordui Shamasrai. In Gaudadesh I have 2 shelters. Janani Janabi, a Dui Doya Moy Ma Sachimata and Ma Ganga. So Mahaprabhu, he came again to Bengal to associate with Ma Ganga, to associate with Sachimata. And every year the devotees from Bengal, they would go to Jagannath Puri every year. Around the time of Snan Jatra, they would arrive and they would remain there for 4 months and perform Ratha Yatra with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then journey back to Bengal. It took 1 month to go, 1 month to come, and 4 months there. So half of their year was going and coming to Jagannath Puri to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every year he did that. And then one year, suddenly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he calls Nityananda Prabhu, or he calls him. And he explains, Nityanande Agya Dilo Jao Gaudadeshe He orders, Mahaprabhu orders Nityananda. Nityananda Agya Dilo. He ordered him, Jao go to Deshe. You go to Bengal. Anargo Prema Bhakti, Koraho Prakashe. And Anargo, without restriction, Prema Bhakti, Krishna consciousness, Koraho Prakashe. You spread Krishna consciousness. Mahaprabhu said, a holy man, do not come to Jagannath Puri every year, but rather you stay in Bengal and you distribute love of God and preach in Bengal. Apart from you, who do I have who can deliver Bengal? So Nityananda Prabhu, he accepted this order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. However, still he came every year to Jagannath Puri. He didn't do that. He came every year. But still, he preached in Bengal. And still, the effect of Lord Nityananda Prabhu's touring and preaching in Bengal can still be seen in so many places. Jainitai, the Nityananda Bangsha, the Nityananda Prabhu, his family, his descendants were also preaching. And Nityananda Prabhu, this preaching in Bengal. Jai Shishi Radha Madhav, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani, Gauranga Nitai ki. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in general, he personally traveled and he preached Krishna consciousness, and he ordered the Kurma Brahman, Jari Dekha Tarikaha Krishna Upadesh, whoever you see, you instruct them in Krishna consciousness. Amaraga Guruha Tara Aidesh. And you deliver this, you stay here, you deliver all the people. However, in addition to spreading Krishna consciousness in every town and village, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, in addition to that, was to deliver Bengal. He says, in Pritipiti Ache Jotonagaradigram, in every town and village on the planet, Sabatra, in all of them, Procha Hoibya, my preaching, Procha Hoibya Mona. The preaching will go on. This is mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in Bengal, all over, in every town and village, there will be preaching. And there will be preaching in Bengal, because I am ordering my Priyatam Bhakta, my dearest servant, to deliver Bengal. Just see how important is Bengal, Gaudadesh, in Mahaprabhu's heart. So if you get a chance to preach Krishna consciousness in Bengal, then you can become the servant of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Any question? Today, on the most auspicious appearance day of Lord Nityananda. Then there can be dancing, chanting, and performance of Sankirtan for the pleasure of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna.